First of all, I like to pray for your good health, because we are going through a very pandemic critical condition of COVID-19. Countries of the world, even the very villages of our country are undergoing through this pandemic condition. In the midst of this pandemic, I would like to tell you, we should be not panic, but we should always take care of ourselves and our family members, especially the very eldest members of our family. It should be our prime motto. So let us pray for the speedy recovery of that affected, and let the Almighty stop this pandemic from our universe. Now, hope so children, during these holidays, you will be in touch with the regular classes what we had earlier. So today I want to tell you to revise the lessons what we had already gone through. Today in this module, I would like to discuss you about Indian agriculture. We had a very interesting session about the agriculture. We know basically India is called an agricultural economy. Why it is so called? Because more than 63% of the population of India till date depends upon agriculture as for their occupation or for their livelihood. That means majority, 1/3 of the population of India till date depends on agriculture as their occupation or livelihood. Let us continue with children. We know that India is basically an agricultural economy. All the festivals, the culture and the tradition of our country has been mingled with agriculture. In this context, I want to remind you one thing that I have repeatedly discussed in the class. Who is called as the Grand Alderman of India? You may be forgotten, but I will remind his name at the end. That particular person has taught, I know only one culture, that is agriculture. And to make him better awareness, I would like to tell you that he was a Parsi, he was a great economist, and he wrote about many economics books about the drainage of Indian economy by the Britishers. And he was a great freedom fighter. And that great man, now the name I am revealing to you, that Dadabhai Naoroji, he once said, I know only one culture, that is agriculture. From that very quote of Dadabhai Naoroji itself, we could understand how important the agriculture as our country concerned. So, let me continue. What are the different types of agriculture in our country? There are especially two types of farming or agriculture continuing in our country. One is of intensive farming and the other is commercial farming, or else we can change it in other way, that is subsistence farming and commercial farming. What do you mean by subsistence farming? Farming for living or farming for subsistence. And what is commercial farming? Farming for earning money, farming for earning profit. So how many types of agriculture we do have? We do have two types of agricultural practice, that is subsistence agriculture, and the second one is commercial agriculture. Okay, let us see. What is the subsistence farming? I already told you, subsistence farming is farming for living. And this subsistence farming itself has two types. One is primitive subsistence farming and the other is intensive subsistence farming. Let us see what is primitive subsistence farming. We know the world, there are many aboriginals, what we call in our Indian tradition as tribals. Where do these people live? These people mostly prefer to live in the villages nearby the forest areas or even in the forest areas that have been confined to the hilly terrains of our nation. So the tribals of our country, they do the farming which is called primitive subsistence farming, because this farming has been continued since time immemorial. Mostly this farming is done by the aboriginals of every country. See how to or what are the important things related to this farming. This is mostly done on a basis of shifting. What are the practices used for that? Let me reveal the things to you. See, in this shifting farming, the people, those who are living in the forest area, they will clear a small patch of area of forest. After clearing or after cutting the trees over there, they will let it burn or they will let it dry for a few days, and after once it get dried, they will burn it. After burning, there will be the first spell of monsoon rainfall, and the first spell of monsoon rainfall will mix this ash with the soil, and that soil will continue as the fertility or the manure of that soil. And the different types of crops, whatever they have required for living in 1 year, will be cultivated. And they will not go for any kind of artificial supply of water, what we call as irrigation, or they don't go for fertilizing any type of manure or chemical fertilizer. All the crops will grow its own, and when it is ripened, they will harvest. And this process will be continued to 2 or 3 or 4 years, and when the fertility of the soil will begin to decrease year by year, once the complete decrease of the fertility of the soil will be done, they will leave that place and they will go to another patch of area or forest, and they will clear that patch. Again they will do the cultivation over there. As they are shifting from one area to other area in the forest, this cultivation is called as shifting cultivation. And most of the northeastern states of India, as the word Jhum is utilized, it is called Jhuming cultivation or Jhuming agriculture. And in India itself, it has another names related to localities and all. And see, in another thing I want to tell you about that, in this cultivation, the most important tools which have been used by the farmers are hoe, dao and digging sticks. Hoe, dao, digging sticks, all these are very primitive type of tools which have been used by the people for the purpose of this kind of farming. This primitive subsistence farming has different names in India. Let us see, it is called as Jhuming cultivation in northeastern part of India. It is also called as slash and burn cultivation. It is also called shifting cultivation. As the procedure is shifting from one place to another after the fertility losses, this cultivation is called as shifting. And the methodology used in this farming is slash and burn, means cutting the wood, then burning it and making that ashes into fertilizer. It is called as slash and burn cultivation. This type of cultivation is mostly practiced in the northeastern parts of India, including Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, etc. Now children, let us discuss about the second type of subsistence farming, that is intensive subsistence farming. What do you mean by intensive subsistence farming? This is practiced in the area of high population pressure on land, where there are more number of people living, or where there is high density of population. That high density of population is making much pressure on the land for making more and more crops available. Labor intensive farming it is, and biochemical fertilizers and pesticides are used in this farming because the farmers intended to get more and more yield from the hectare, and it requires irrigation. That means water supply is required, and these sometimes HYV seeds, irrigation, and that fertilizers, when all these will be applied, the production will be tremendous. But what is the result of this? the intense leaching of these fertilizers and all will make that soil infertile in the very short span of cultivation itself. This is called intensive subsistence farming. This farming is mostly practiced in the northern part of India, especially on the Indo-Gangetic plains. The states like Haryana, Punjab, western parts of Uttar Pradesh and parts of Rajasthan, as part of Green Revolution, this intensive subsistence farming became a common practice. And once again I am repeating, see, this intensive subsistence farming is mostly practiced in the areas where there is high density of population. So listen children, today we will wind up our topic here, and tomorrow we will continue with commercial farming and different varieties of crops and cropping season related to the lesson agriculture.